Everything is good on my end. We get things started, and then we start to have a couple of issues here or there. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you for all the love out there. Thank you, Tiff Tiff. I just did what I do on my end. Let me know give me a thumbs up if everything is good on your end, and we'll get the show started. Damn you, Facebook. Damn you. Not sure what it is exactly. How my Spreaker people? No problems with Spreaker? Okay, great. Okay, good, good, good. Just let me know, and I'll do what I can to take care of it on my end as much as possible. We good, Andrielle? Great, great, great. Now, you already know I'm checking every morning, right? I spend at least 30 minutes making sure we do a sound check every single morning. We get the show started, and sometimes things happen. But let's not get sidetracked on that. So I want to talk about that. And then there's one thing I thought about, right, that I haven't heard anybody bring up that could be a way of spending at least $1 million of the money. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate you. Good now, good now. That is a listen, that is the strangest thing ever, but it is what it is. Okay, great, 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 good. I don't understand it. But there's an idea that was put out a few years ago that would have been a direct impact to the Black community in Cincinnati, but really, I think in general, all of Cincinnati, everybody would have benefited from it. And it's interesting because I haven't heard it proposed or haven't heard anybody bring this back up. So I want to reintroduce this idea to you this morning. The city's talking about getting $290 million, and there's all kind of plans. City council is going to be deliberating between 2 and 6 weeks to decide on what they want to do. Then they'll make a decision. But what that means is that U.S. citizens have a right to let your voice be heard. You have every right to reach out via email or whatever other way you want to reach out, and then tell the city council members how you feel about it, what you think they should do with the money. You got every right to do that. You got every right to do that. You should do it. We'll discuss that this morning. 513-873-7134 if you like to share your thoughts. Of course, yesterday we had the first press conference with Joe Biden, and Joe Biden went in. And he went in primarily on a lot of things, but primarily about what the Republican Party is doing down in Georgia. And I want to make this point again, because a whole lot of smart, dumb Black people, I'm going to say it again, smart, dumb Black people get caught up with this. And I want to tell you how I see it. The way I see it is in terms of the Black, if we just talk about the Black community for a second, in terms of the Black community, nobody's going to argue that neither one of the two major parties have delivered the equity policy intangibles to our satisfaction to the level of the issues that we're dealing with. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that, Democrat or Republican, right? But I've heard smart, dumb people over the years make this argument that the Democrats and Republicans are the same. They are not the fucking same. And they probably never will be. They are not the same. And if you're looking for any example of that, look at what just happened in Georgia. Look at what the Republican, white male, Republicans dominate, the state legislature. They're running everything down in Georgia primarily. Look at what they just passed. And I want to go through, we've been talking about this. I told you the empire strikes back. And the Republican Party, rather than trying to come up with better ideas, they'll just use their majority to try to rig the system so that they can win future elections. And that's exactly what they've done down in Atlanta. Republican Party. Now, I'm not here singing the virtues of the Democrat Party, but it is unintelligent to say that both of these parties have the same relationship with the Black community. It is unintelligent. Anybody who makes that argument is either dumb as fuck, and you shouldn't be listening to them no way, or they're trying to mislead you, or they just need to be educated. It's one of those three. Either they dumb as hell and you shouldn't be listening to them anyway, they need to be educated, or they are purposely trying to mislead you. Because look at what's happening in Georgia. That's not the Democrat Party doing that. That's the Republican Party doing that. I just want to let you know that. So people need to understand who's who and what's what. And stop blurring the lines. I know the lines are already blurred to some degree, but we need to know who's real and who's not. What they're doing down in Atlanta has been described as Jim Crow 2.0. You know who said that? Stacey Abrams said that. Stacey Abrams said that. So down in Georgia, the white male Republicans got in their feelings because they lost the state for the first time in a presidential election I can't remember when. And the reason why they lost is because their politics are whack and they had two weak, whack ass candidates. Two whack ass candidates that basically was using the position to make even more money. And one of those candidates was the wealthiest member of the Senate. You talk about greed. That's why they lost. They lost because they had bad policies and bad candidates. So what do? They legally rigged the system. So that makes it more difficult for black people to vote in Georgia. Black voters. This is direct attack on black voters down in Georgia. Where my black Republicans at? Right here singing the virtues of the market. I believe in the free open market enterprise, unless it's something you don't like. Then you believe in rigging the system to get the outcome that you're looking for. But I want to make the point because I hear so many black people talk, oh, it's the same. They're the same. They're not the same. And you're ignorant as hell. It's ignorant to not do a little education so you can inform yourself as to what's really going on. They're not the same. They're not the same. I ain't singing the virtues of either party. You do what you got to do. But anybody, any black person, any person in general that makes that argument is either not the kind of person, not too bright, so you shouldn't be listening to them anyway. Just ignore what they have to say because they don't know what they're talking about. They're lying to you because they're trying to straight up pull the wool over your eyes, or they just need to be educated. It's one of those three. It's one of those three. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we ain't even talking about what these white male Republicans in Ohio is trying to do. We ain't even talking about that. So people need to wake up this morning and understand what's really going on. You know, who's who and what's what. What they're doing in Georgia. Well, I'll give you the details. It's absolutely amazing. It's quite amazing. The empire strikes back. It's like, oh, y'all gonna go out here and vote for the candidate that you want? Oh, we gonna stop you. We don't believe these same people. And again, that's why I say patriotism is the last refuge of a scoundrel. Not my words. Because you have these scoundrels, right? Masquerading as politicians, people of the people, representatives of the people, when actually they only represent themselves, their own party motivations, and that's about it. On one hand, they'll claim to love the Constitution. We're strict interpretationists of the Constitution. We love 1776. We love 1776. And then in modern day, they'll try to legally make it as difficult as possible for people to vote, right? Why? Because they want their candidate to win. They want Republicans to win down in Atlanta and down in Georgia. Joe Biden won in Georgia. They got pissed off down there. So what did they do? They ran with Donald Trump's lies about the elections, which there is no truth to it whatsoever. None whatsoever. But they're going to still use that to try to get what they want in the near future. Like I said, to me, Republicans, when they lose elections, they don't go back to the drawing board and say, you know what? How can we build a better policy? That's not what they do. They go back to the drawing board and try to figure out how they can use their power statewide to try to rig the system to get what they want. And if they have to make it more difficult for black people to vote legally, like, oh, well, we just need an ID. What's wrong with an ID? Then that's what they'll do. What's wrong with having an ID? I've got to have an ID. You hear these simpletons out here making these arguments. They don't even know what the hell they're talking about. What's wrong with having an ID? Well, why should you have to vote on Sunday? You don't need souls to the polls on Sunday right before the election. Come on now. So we'll talk about that this morning. There's a lot going on. But let me circle back around and start with the cover story, shall we? Let's start right here. Does anybody know who this man is? Does anybody know who this gentleman is? Well, that man right there that you're looking at is, or was, a St. Louis police detective. His name is Luther Hall. Have you been paying attention to the Luther Hall case? The Luther Hall case just concluded defense testimony, and this court case has been going on for 2 weeks. How many people have heard about it? Luther Hall. You might be wondering, what happened to Luther's lip? Well, Luther Hall got whooped. He got whooped. He got beat up. He got beat up. This police detective, this undercover police detective, got beat up. Who beat him up? Who beat him up? Well, Luther Hall, this goes back to 2017 in St. Louis. There were people in the streets of St. Louis because there was a shooting that involved a police officer. It was protest after the acquittal of former officer Jason Shockley. Remember that case of Jason Shockley? What did Jason Shockley do? Anybody remember? He was acquitted in a fatal shooting of a black driver, all right, back in 2017. And after his acquittal, protesters hit the streets of St. Louis, man. They was blocking highways. They was throwing rocks at the mayor's house. They was in the streets super tough, all right, because this white male got off for killing a black man. And people felt like it was unfair, right? This is back in 2017. Well, in comes Luther Hall. Luther Hall at the time was an undercover police detective, and he was assigned to go undercover during the protest. So his job was to go undercover, plain clothes, and take photographs of people that were committing crimes during the protest. So he was plain clothes, dressed as a protester, whatever that looks like. And he was taking photographs so they could build cases against people that was committing crimes during the protest, okay? So imagine this. This man is an undercover police officer. He's undercover during the protest back in 2017. And he gets bum rushed by what appears to be like 5 officers. They arrest him. They beat him. They beat him pretty badly to the point where he couldn't eat for a while, had a whole bunch of internal injuries on his face. You can see it like this. They took his camera from him, threw his camera to the side, gave him what's called a super, super rough arrest. And then they found out that he was one of theirs. Then they found out that, oh, Mike, wait a minute. He's not just an average, ordinary black dude. He's actually an undercover police officer. They beat this man nearly unconscious. Now, during the beating, from what I'm gathering from the separate reports and what I've seen from the testimony in trial, he never told anybody he was a police officer. The reason why I don't know. So he gets beat up, gets booked, gets processed. Then it starts to come out. One of the officers that night, when they found out, after getting back to the station, actually sent him a text message apologizing. And how you gonna apologize for a racially motivated beating? Now, why do I say it was racially motivated? I say it was racially motivated because, as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this man, Luther Hall, had a partner that night. He wasn't working alone. Although when he was arrested, he was by himself. When the beating took place, his partner wasn't side by side with him. His partner is a white male. His partner was arrested too. Although his partner wasn't beat up while he was arrested. It came out during the trial that some of these same officers that beat up this man, their text messages became public, or were admitted into the trial. In the text messages, this is text messages before the officers went out into the streets that night. The officers were texting back and forth about how they wanted to beat up some protesters. So I guess what happens is some of these police officers get in their feelings when people protest and demonstrate against police officers that kill unarmed people or kill citizens and get away with it. Some of these police officers get in their feelings about it. They get mad. Oh, you don't like police? Oh, I'm going to show you, right? So that's the sense. I haven't read the text messages, but that's the sense that I'm getting was in the text messages. These officers that ended up beating this man up and causing great bodily harm and serious injury to him, that before they hit the streets, they were texting back and forth about how they wanted to find somebody and whoop their ass. And then they found somebody and whooped their ass. And guess what? It happened to be a black man. If that's a coincidence, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. From what I gather, I think it was a bad little batch of officers. You got a little crew working inside the department. All brothers of the same mentality. And they figured they was going to catch them somebody and then take their anger out on him. And they caught the wrong one. If this was just an ordinary black dude, if it was me or you, open and shut case, we probably wouldn't be talking about it. But because it's a police officer, now we got a problem. Let me give you more. Then we got a call on the line. I want to go straight to it. Let me give you more because this story is amazing. As it turns out, there's one officer that this happened within the last 2 weeks now. And again, I haven't seen this get a whole lot of play in the media. Maybe you have. But one of the officers did a 180. You got 5 officers involved with this. One of them initially in his testimony said that, this man who, again, Luther Hall, was resisting. And that's the reason why they had to open up a can of whoop ass on it, because he was resisting, right? They always use, he was resisting, stop resisting, so now I can do whatever I want to do to you, right? It's cowardice to me, quite honestly. Any man or one man in a badge that would do that is a coward, straight up. Straight up. You got to have all these people and all these badges to do all of that, tough guy. I think is weakness, in my opinion. I have no respect for it. But anyway, so one of the officers in the initial review gave a statement saying basically that this man that I'm showing you right here that was beaten up was resisting arrest. Well, apparently his conscience got to him, fam. Because when it got to the trial, this particular officer did a 180. And he said in open testimony in the court that he was wrong, that the other officers was involved was wrong. He said, look, I was wrong. I got to deal with I got to be held accountable. I respect that. That's a hard thing to do. That's a hard thing for a lot of people to do, to admit when they're wrong. That's a very hard thing for some people to do, is to admit when they are wrong. It's very, very hard for them to do. So this officer gets on the stand, does a 180, and delivers testimony in court that supports the testimony of Luther Hall that he was beat up basically for no reason whatsoever. The other officers have various degrees. I think there's 3 or 4 officers all involved. They've all got separate lawyers, so they all got separate defenses and things like that. All white jury. You got 2 black alternates, which means that there's no diversity whatsoever, racial diversity. That's not really a true jury of your peers. Okay, we need to change that. Okay, and again, this case is still going on. It has not concluded. It's been going on for the last 2 weeks. And I'm just wondering, why don't we hear more about this case? Why isn't this big national news? Why isn't it? I don't get it. Have you heard this story before? What do you think? What do you think is going to happen? I mean, some of you might be hearing it for the first time. I've got some local news reports. When I say local as to in St. Louis, news reports that might give you some more insight and details that I'll share with you this morning as well. But that's one story that you might have missed, the Luther Hall story, because it's not really getting a whole lot of play. And it just blows my mind as to why it isn't. This is quite amazing. These officers, in my opinion, they caught them one and thought, okay, we're going to use this dude to take our aggression out on him. How dare you? Oh, you going to protest the police? No, we're not protesting the police. We're protesting this particular officer and what happened in this particular situation. They beat this man up. From what I understand, he had a lot of injuries to his face. I'm not sure if they broke his jaw, but he said his jaw was so swollen he couldn't eat for weeks, couldn't eat solid food for weeks, and is dealing with the post-traumatic stress of it. Like I said, you get 3 or 4 people beating you down, you ain't gonna just get up and just shake it off. That shit gonna sit with you for a while. You ain't gonna just get over that in a week or 2. You might have some nightmares about people doing something to you, and you can't do nothing about it because they're officers. So I think it's clear, in my opinion. I believe the testimony of this man. Why would an undercover police officer resist being arrested? It doesn't make any sense. It's far more plausible that they swooped on him, and before he knew it, he was getting that business. And the officers, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in the room when these officers realized that this black man they beat up was one of theirs. This is serious now. We just can't lie and just sweep it under the rug. Oh boy, going to trial. But enough of me, more of you, family. I want to know what you think. Have you heard about this story? What do you think about this story? What do you think should happen in this story? Why isn't this story getting more national press? All right, let's go to the phones. We got an early call. Good morning. Thank you for waiting and welcome.
Good morning, Nathan. It's Carmelita.
Hey, Carmelita. Good morning to you.
So I want to call, and this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, I'm sure, about this Luther Hall case. But it's so many black cops that think because they're cops that other cops aren't wrong. I kind of feel like that's what he get. Not that's what he get, like he deserved to get beat almost to death, but for him to actually see and to open his eyes, like people are not playing when they say they get treated differently.
Mm-hmm. So you
I had
don't.
never.
So are you saying that he got what he deserved, Carmelita, or are you stopping just shy of
I'm
that?
I'm stopping shy of that because nobody deserves to get beat nearly to death and can't eat and all that stuff. But now you see what we're talking about. You thought you were above that. You thought you were beyond that. And no, homie. You still a black man, and you tried to cross. Like you tried to cross. You tried to cross other black people going to take pictures undercover to get them in trouble. So you got your ass beat.
You're saying there's a sense of irony in it, huh? Okay, I can see that.
It's quite a bit of irony because he thought that would never happen. He never. I'm sure he never thought that would happen to him. He never imagined. He was above that. Yeah, homie, you got your ass beat too. Sorry.
Damn, tough crowd, Carmelita. Tough.
I mean, he was going undercover. I mean, if they were breaking the law, that's one thing. But so many times protesters, as he was not breaking the law, and they just get attacked and they get tear gas. I mean, last summer, my 5-year-old nephew got tear gas downtown, and they were just walking, literally. He was walking with his mother,
This is
and they
doing
got tear gas.
this is doing the post George Floyd social.
Correct, here
Okay.
in Cincinnati. And I mean, it's just and like I said, I'm gonna stop short of he got what he deserved, but they reminded you who you were, homie. Sorry.
Hey, Carmelita, thanks for the call. I appreciate you.
But good.
She cracking up. She out there on this one, boy. Woo woo. She said, "Look, hey, I ain't got no tears. You want me to cry for you now? I didn't see that coming. That's interesting. I don't share that perspective per se. Like, sure, he learned a lesson. Like, oops, I guess it's true what they say about police brutality, right? Yeah, it is true. But why do you think this is not getting more play nationally? So who makes the decisions in the newsrooms about what news goes out? It's the producers, right? I'm sure that the hosts they have some say so. It depends on where you go. Like, I don't know what that's like in television news. Something tells me it depends. Some tells me it's probably more the producers, but the talent has some say so in terms of wording and things like that. In commercial talk radio, my experience has been that typically, the host, it depends on leadership. It depends. If you got the kind of leadership that values the integrity and the free speech of the host, then essentially within guidelines, the host kind of decide what they want to talk about. But nothing prevents, the producer or the station director or the cluster director or whatever from coming in and saying, talk about this, don't talk about that. Nothing prevents that from doing it. So decisions were made in the newsrooms to not run with it. Simple as that. And I believe because it's a very inconvenient news story. Like, this situation is very inconvenient to the national narrative that media outlets, primarily the pro police folks in the world, want us to believe. Like, those kind of folks want us to believe that black people and people in general just don't like the police and try to start stuff with police and things like that. That's why you got at least 2 states in the union right now, Kentucky and Ohio, in which they've got these proposals that you can't taunt a police officer, because there's people out there that have the belief That's what's happening. That's the reason why officers are, opening up a can of whoop ass on private citizens. It's the citizens' fault because you're taunting them. You're getting in their way. You're calling them names. And hey, you can call anybody names and people are going to react, right? This story completely contradicts all of that. This story starts to show you just that rawness, that realness of what some black people have been talking about and that black people in general have been dealing with in this country. And that is the mistreatment by police. I don't care what the scenario is. I mean, okay, so you got this social unrest going on, there's a protest. That's going to turn things up a notch. I get it. But to the point where police just swoop on citizens who ain't doing nothing. This guy was like taking pictures, taking videos. And I wonder if the police officers felt some kind of way. Maybe he pointed the camera lens toward them and they thought, oh, we got it. Oh, you want to watch us? Or you want to video record us? Record us doing this. Take his phone, whoop his ass, all this kind of stuff. Because they know that in the moment, they can do that. Like, yeah, maybe down the line, there might be some things that'll happen. But in the moment, they can get away with it, so they do it. And they also understand how the legal system works, race in America, and their position. So they know they're dealing with a black person, and there isn't a whole lot of evidence that they did something wrong that can be pulled into court, that they know that 9 times out of 10, nothing's going to happen. Yeah, they might open up your manila folder and put a check mark there and say, hey, we talked to you about something. But generally speaking, nothing's really going to happen. Generally speaking, nothing really is going to happen. And these officers know that in the moment. Because what's going to happen is let's say you get arrested and it's a wrong arrest. Well, that's not going to get sorted out until way later, tomorrow, the next day, whenever you go to court, and then come back for your real court appearance. If you have a court appearance, it's not going to get dealt with in the moment. In the moment, you're going to get arrested. You're going to get processed. You're going to have to go somewhere and then bail yourself out or bond yourself out and call people. They already know that. And so that's why, you see a lot of the actions that we do is because that's what I've seen from most humans. Most humans do what they know they can get away with. And that's the reason why when I'm in a customer service situation, I get real sensitive about that. Because like if I'm in a customer service situation, somebody treats me badly, I take it personal. I take it like, oh, they feel like they can do this to me. Because they've done this before and got away with it. Or they must have a good relationship with the supervisor, so they feel like ain't nothing really gonna happen. And so people do what they think they can get away with. Officers, you name it. You name it. That's what we keep saying. I mean, I don't see no differences. Before we go any deeper in the show, I want to remind you that there is an opportunity for you this morning. My friends over at renewcommunitychurch.org are kicking off their Focus 2021 series. And as a part of it, they're offering 2 things. First, a free 142-page ebook. And then secondly, you can sign up for 30 minutes of professional coaching with Charlie Winburn. There is a link in today's description. Take advantage of it while it's available, family. And if you've never had the experience of professional coaching, try it out. What are you waiting on? You only have things to gain, as I look at it. There's nothing to lose, only things to gain, right? Could be very, very valuable to you and your plans and what you're doing and what you're trying to do. And I just want to make sure that all of my listeners get a chance to take advantage of it, while they're offering it. Okay, so space is limited. Make sure you get in line as quickly as possible and sign up. 30 minutes of professional coaching, and that is free to you this morning. Also, I want to give you a heads up on a Facebook Live event that's going to be happening on Monday, March 29th at 6 p.m. It's a part of the Let's Talk About It series, Repeal House Bill 6. That's a statewide conversation. As you can see, the folks behind it over at Common Strategies have put together a very impressive panel here. Now, this is an Ohio issue. If you live in Ohio, This in particular is going to impact you, and also get more details about House Bill 6. I've been promoting what they've been doing now for a little bit of time now, and I want to make sure that people know about it as much as possible. So this is Monday at 6 p.m. That's this Monday at 6 p.m. Let's talk about it. House Bill 6, Rep. Juanita Brent. She's a Democrat from Cleveland, District 12. Senator Sandra Williams, a Democrat from Cuyahoga, District 21. Rep. Dontavius Jarelis, he's a Democrat from Columbus, that's District 25. David Wilson, Black Environmental Leaders, that's BLE. Rep. Tavia Kalinsky is a Democrat from Akron. She's in District 35. And then Rep. Janine Boyd is a Democrat from Cleveland, and that's in District 9. So if that's something that you think you'd be interested in, you can check out the live stream on Monday at 6 p.m. You can find it at the Common, COMMEN Strategies Facebook page, and I'll be sharing links as well to all my Facebook people so you can check it out for yourself. Okay, that's on Monday. But I want to remind you that coming up, and maybe I did this backwards, I probably should have started here. But starting tomorrow, or should I say tomorrow, is the Get Engaged, Be the Change virtual Facebook Live event. I will be your moderator. This is being put forward by the good folks over at Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Inc. That's the Beta Zeta Zeta chapter here in Cincinnati, Ohio. It's titled The 2021 Cincinnati Election, What's at Stake? Bill Woods, the founder and president of Applied Information Resources, will be one of the panelists. Ashlee Young, vice president of policy and strategic initiatives at the Urban League of Greater Southwest Ohio, and Desiree Futel, who's the VP of voter services of the League of Women Voters Cincinnati area. And I will be your moderator. We'll be breaking it down tomorrow starting at 12. I'm not sure what you got planned tomorrow around 12, around midday, but if you've got some time, check it out. Check it out. I love the virtual age. And then, of course, don't forget, it's a lot of stuff. So that's tomorrow. You got the Common Strategies conversation happening on Monday. Let's talk about a series. Folks are trying to repeal House Bill 6. What is House Bill 6? Why does it matter? Tune in on Monday at 6 p.m. And then, of course, on Tuesday, the last Tuesday of the month of March, that's the 30th, starting at 6:30 p.m. is going to be the first of the year. This will be the first of the calendar year 2021 for the NAACP Prince Hall Masons. They're coming back with more of the virtual town halls. And on Tuesday, they're going to kick it off with the mayoral candidates. Okay, I will be your moderator for that as well. So we're going to get straight to it. And, we're not going to waste your time. We're going to do it in a really timely manner. And we're going to ask the questions and give you a chance to hear the answers. Okay, you already know. No BS allowed. We're going to get to the choppers. That's going to be on Tuesday at 6:30. Whole bunch of virtual events. I love it. I love virtual is here to stay. Going live is here to stay. Good morning to you. Good to see everybody. So it's going to be very interesting next week or so with some opportunities to engage with the community and see what's going on. Let me jump inside the chop shop, shall we? Jump inside the chop shop. Ray writes here. I'm not sure. Ashlee writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. Sharp writes, TGIF, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Okay. K&G coming through with the specials on text message, man. Appreciate it. Y'all always got some great deals. Appreciate that. Sharp Rice, TGIF, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Ashley's got the thumbs up. That means she can hear me. Pat Rice, good morning. Tanika Rice, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Rafael De La Ghetto writes, that's what it actually reads, Rafael De La Ghetto. Rise and shine, young stars. Miss D is in the house. She writes greetings. Tracy Rice shaking her head for some reason. CG Dub writes, good morning, Choppers. Good morning to you, everybody. If you just missed it, and I've been doing this for like a month or so on Fridays, I don't want to call it a weekend review. I call it some stories that you might have missed this week because it's just so much. Like, everybody's been talking about Derek Jackson, and for good reasons, because that story's got plenty to talk about and it's hella relevant in a lot of ways. We've been talking about Kirk Franklin and stuff that's happening locally. I just wanted to bring something to your attention that you might have missed. Okay. And a lot of people might have missed this story about Luther Hall. And let me take it from the top for my friends who are just coming in this morning. And as you come in, please take a second to like and in particular share the show. The shares have been down lately, and we need to make sure we keep the shares up. I mean, my goal is always 100 shares. And if you enjoy the flows, if you like what we do here, please share the show wherever you might be. And when I say share, I'm talking about on your personal page. It could be Facebook groups or pages that speak to what we're talking about here, speak to our audience, the core of what we do here. And you might see other people sharing these groups and you're a part of it. Share it anyway. Because I'm in a lot of groups and I don't see everything that gets posted in groups. But when people start to share the same thing, then I start to see it. It's just how it is. I might be in 50 different Facebook groups, you know what I'm saying? So it's hard to keep up. It is hard to keep up. All right. So just want to give you a heads up on some opportunities and things that are going on, and also talk about some stuff that may not be on your radar screen, like this story with Luther Hall. The man that you see in the image that's right on the screen right now, that's up on the screen, his name is Luther Hall. He is a detective, or was a detective, with the St. Louis Police Department. Going back to 2017, there was social unrest and protesters in the streets of St. Louis, and they were protesting the acquittal of a white police officer that killed a black man. I think it was doing a traffic stop. I believe. I could be wrong about that. Killed this man and then was acquitted. People hit the streets. So this man, Luther Hall, is charged with becoming, or he's told to go undercover during the protest. So he goes undercover during the protest, and his job is to, what I'm gathering here, is to try to make the case and get evidence for people who are in the protest that might be committing crimes. So let's say you got somebody that breaks a window and goes into a department store, or you got somebody that's doing something that's also criminal doing this. He's taking photographs and videos so he can help make the case against these individuals. So while he's doing this, he gets swooped on by a group of officers that beat the bejesus out of him. Look at what he did to this man. The trial is going on right now in St. Louis. It's the second week of it. I just want to bring it to your attention, put it on your radar screen, and it's just real interesting. Like, he had a white partner that was working the same thing he was doing, right? Doing undercover work. His white partner got arrested, but didn't get beaten. The officers who beat this man, who beat up Luther Hall, they did a records request and got the text messages. Apparently, before they hit the streets for, their shift, they were texting back and forth about how they wanted to find a protester and whoop him and beat their ass and beat up somebody. Then they go out and find him and beat him up because they didn't know he was an officer. Right? This trial is going on right now. The defense just rested. It'll probably end sometime next week and get a verdict soon, next month or so. Never know how long the jury is going to deliberate. Speaking of the jury, in this particular case, all white jury. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. We talked to Carmelita this morning. Carmelita ain't got no tears whatsoever. Damn, sis. Dale writes, they killing us down here with Jim Crow laws. Get ready for the great pushback. Well, I hope it's a great pushback. I really do. Because down in Georgia, man, y'all dealing with a whole different thing down there, man. They ain't even trying to hide it. And see, this is the Republicans down in Georgia got power, and they're using it. They got power, and they're using it. The state legislatures, overwhelmingly, the vast majority of state legislators are dominated by Republicans. That means that on the state level, the vast majority of states are being run by Republicans, the Republican majorities, like in the state of Ohio. So what are they doing in the state of Ohio? What are these goofy ass white male Republicans doing here? Well, let me tell you, these mofos run around creating bills so that if there's a health crisis or emergency, and if the governor of Ohio declares that we want to have a curfew, they want to have the right to supersede the governor to decide whether we should have a state of emergency. That's what these guys are doing. That's what they just did in Ohio. Are we going to see since they've been successful in pulling this off in Georgia, Can we expect to see something similar in other states around the country? You better fucking believe it. You better believe it. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? Did you hear about the black female Georgia lawmaker who was arrested? I saw the video this morning. She was arrested because she was knocking on the door, trying to get into the room and have her say and confront the governor before he signed it. So you got Governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, who's behind closed doors, going through the process of signing these, Jim Crow 2.0 election laws into law, right? She gets arrested and led array. She gets arrested, put in the police car by Capitol Police or by police officers at the Capitol down there in Georgia. Democratic State Rep Park Cannon was knocking on the door of the office of the governor, and she was approached by Georgia State Police troopers, and they instructed her to stop knocking on the door. She did not, so she got arrested. The new law signed by Kemp, white male Republican, includes new limitations on mail-in voting, expands most voter access to in-person early voting, and caps a month-long battle over voting in a battleground state. So this is what the Republican Party is doing, at least in Georgia. They're going to do whatever they can to make sure that in 2 years, because you got to understand what the Republican Party lost in Georgia. They lost both Senate seats, and they lost the state to Joe Biden. And instead of this being an example or an opportunity for them to say, you know what, let's rethink our approach. Let's rethink our policy. What do the people want to know? We ain't going to do all of that. We're just going to use our power because we're running things. Majority in the state legislature, and we got the governor. We'll just use our power to remake the laws to benefit the outcomes that we want. A lot of black people who are close to this in Georgia, I've been reading, are saying that this is a direct slap in the face to black voters. Stacey Abrams has been spending the last, 5, 6, 7, 8 years down there trying to get people registered and expand people's access to voting, and it worked. So they was like, wait a minute. We're going to have to do something about this. What can we do legally as much as possible to try to make it as difficult as possible for people who may not vote for Democrats to vote? And that's what they did. And that's what they're going to continue to do. And they'll do it here in Ohio, too, if they can. It'll be interesting to see. I won't doubt it. I'm looking for it. No matter where you are, look for the Republicans in your particular state to introduce similar bills. Because if it worked in Georgia, why not start in Ohio? I mean, if it works in Georgia, why not keep trying it? You know what I'm saying? I mean, why stop now? You know what I'm saying? Let's push all our chips in and go for broke. I got a video clip for you here. This is state rep. This is a black female state rep. Her name is Park Cannon. This just happened yesterday. You're going to watch her get arrested because she's knocking on Governor Brian Kemp's door. And some are saying that she was interrupting the live stream. So he was live streaming this. She starts knocking on the door and she gets arrested. Would you like to see? I'll play it for you here in a second. Here, give me 1 second. This is what we live. It's real out here. People think it's a game. This is not a game. Let me see if I can pull this up for you. I believe I can. There it is. Check this out. This is quite interesting.
Why does she have to step back?
The governor is signing a bill that affects all Georgians. Why is he doing it in private, and why is he trying to keep elected officials who are representing us out of the process?
Exactly.
I know you don't have any control over anything other than suppressing people's right to vote and using your guns and your abilities to talk.
Yeah, you said you give her one more time, like you're going to do something. Are you serious?
No, you are not.
No. She's not under arrest.
For what? Under arrest for what? For trying to see something that our governor is doing? Our governor is signing a bill that affects all Georgians, and you're going to arrest an elected representative. Why does the governor have more power than a representative? Why are you arresting her?
That's what I'm asking.
Stop arresting her.
Why are you arresting
Why?
her? Why are you arresting her?
Cite the violation. Cite the code. What is she in violation of? I want you to cite the code. Cite the code. Cite it. What are you? Cite the code. Cite the code. Cite the code. Why are you arresting her? Under what? Under what?
Back up. Get out of the way.
Under what law are you arresting her? Why are you arresting her? Why are you arresting her? Tell us now. Why are you arresting her? Cite it. Give me a reason why you are arresting her.
Isn't that dope?
Arresting.
I told you, that's a dope video right there. You can see it all right there. You can see it all. Why are you harassing her? It don't matter. She got arrested, didn't she? See, that's the way the system works. She might what we might have just witnessed is an illegal, unlawful arrest. Like, it could go to court. That can be true. But in the moment, she's been removed. And there's nothing anybody can do about it. All her sisters and friends and staffers, you see they ain't getting away, didn't you? Because they wouldn't get that work too. You come in too. And they're going to take her downstairs and process her. She might have a court case. It might be legitimate, but that's it. And that's what they're doing down in Georgia. Because she tried to knock on the door, family. This black she is a duly elected representative, and she just got arrested because she was going to knock on the door, and she might have interrupted the live stream. And these are, again, you're talking about a Republican governor and Republican legislators that led this movement down in Georgia. I just want people to know the differences. I just want people to know the differences of what's really going on here in the country. And then where my black Republicans at? Speaking of which, our favorite black Republicans on the line right now. Let's go straight to the phones. Hey, good morning, Drop. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, my beautiful black people on the Nathan Ivey Show and all across the country who can hear my voice. I'm doing good, sir. How are you? Thank you for having me, Mr. Ivey. I've been listening to your show for about 36 minutes now. And I looked at your cover art. And unfortunately, that undercover cop, he was doing what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to be undercover. So I'm not going to comment on that case because I don't know all the details. I'm not going to speculate and use conjecture like our host, Mr. Ivey, does. But you're the host. You can do that. But Mr. Ivey, the nature of my call, if you will allow me, sir, is the first press conference of our 46th president on his 64th day, Sleepy Joe Biden. Mr. Ivey, I have not heard you talk about the show. I know we're only about an hour into your show, but I'm pretty sure that it wasn't going to take your favorite black Republican to get you to talk about all the lies that was spewed by the total. I think he called on 4 reporters in an hour, Mr. Ivey. He had a binder full of notes. This man is a disgrace. At one point in the press conference, Mr. Ivey, it was almost toward the end. The man walked away from the podium. He started walking toward the press that were socially distanced as if he was at a town hall meeting, Mr. Ivey. It is something wrong with this man. I don't know what it is, but somebody needs to start talking to our girl, Vice President Kamala Harris, and get busy on that, amendment, 25th Amendment. You know that one about the cognitive ability of the president. But as I digress, Mr. Ivey, Joe Biden, he called on 4 reporters. Not one question about COVID-19, even though the president started off the press conference with statements or comments about the progress of the vaccine rollout. Not one question about COVID-19. But these were the questions that were asked. Filibuster, the border crisis, and of course, from CNN, the favorite network of the Democrat Party, Caitlin Collins asked the president if he will be running for re-election. And guess what? Joe Biden made news when he said, yes, he will be running for a second term at the spry age of 82 years old. So much for Kamala Harris just sliding right in. Look like you're going to have to wait till 2028, my sister. But, Mr. Ivy, Joe Biden was fact-checked. Joe Biden claimed that Donald Trump eliminated $700 million in aid to the Central American countries. That's a lie. Joe Biden used the wrong statistics. Mr. Ivy, I'm getting heated because I cannot believe this was not the lead of your show today. How you did not start off with this. Now, granted, I didn't turn your show on at 4:44 when you came on with some technical difficulties. I didn't get in 15 minutes later. But, Mr. Ivy, I am 100% sure that you will comment on that disgraceful press conference from our 46th president of the United States and our lamestream media, who obviously now, after that press conference, everybody knows they're willing accomplice of the media. When we're supposed to be in the midst of a pandemic and not one COVID-19 question, maybe Glenn from Mason or Robert Williams, the overseer and co-overseer of the Chop Shop on YouTube, maybe they can explain, since me, Drop Squad 62, be lying all the time. I ain't lying now. Fact check me now, Robert. Fact check me now, Glenn. But anyway, Mr. Ivy, it's Friday. I ain't got no job. Oh, that's right. I'm retired. Drop Squad 52. Science to anyone who wants to catch it. Episode 38, Season 1, Black Not Democrat Podcast. Peace.
That's a drop. I think it's interesting that here you are, a black Republican. You love the Republican Party and everything it stands for. You voted for Donald Trump twice and would vote for him again if you could. You call in here talking about the fact that Joe Biden moved toward and walked toward him like it was a town hall but I think it's interesting that you completely are ignoring the fact that your party is trying to steal black people's votes in Georgia legally. They're coming up with all these legal maneuvers on how to suppress the black vote so that Republican candidates can win. You have nothing to say about that. You said what you had to say about Joe Biden. The fact checks are out. I mean, he erred or was wrong on some things, and now he's being corrected. It is what it is. Nobody's infallible. I don't have a problem with a president having a binder because if that helps him keep his thoughts straight, then great. It is what it is. I'm not going to say that I think that he's the habitual liar that Donald Trump was. Now, I mean, it ain't even close. Like Donald Trump would lie about the time of day it is. He would lie about the weather if he felt like in the moment it would benefit him. So I'm not reading that from Biden. So maybe, it was some of that political spin, or maybe he erred because that happens. I don't know. Did I watch the press conference? I watched clips of it. I didn't watch it in its entirety. But I know how it is, though. Like all the Republicans, all the black Republicans and pundits like Drop, they're just foaming at the mouth every time that Joe Biden makes a mistake. If he falls down the stairs, they think it's funny. If he flubs a word, oh my God, we better invoke the 25th Amendment. So I get it. Some of this is just par for the course. That's what you're going to get. You're following the example set for you by Newsmax and Fox News and all the Blaze TV and all the other conservative outlets out there. I get it. That's what they do, but I remain unconvinced, quite honestly. I hear what you're saying, but maybe not. Carlton writes, my thought, can't arrest them all, should have went to the door and knocked harder. I thought the same thing. I'm like, okay, so the sheriff deputies, They left. Okay, now shoo, it's open season now.
Officials
Go
who
on
are
in there.
representing
But you just saw this black woman, this elected official, get arrested because she tried to knock on the door. Dan, we should all be so lucky to have state patrollers, state troopers standing outside our door. And if somebody knocks on the door to interrupt me, you can be arrested for knocking on the door. She didn't try to kick the door. She tried to knock on the door and she was arrested. And she probably got detained for a couple of hours. Again, law enforcement know what they're doing. They know it's hella inconvenient for somebody to get detained. You got to stop your day. You got to get processed. You're going to have to get ponded out. You got to go down here to this facility. They're going to fingerprint you, go through this whole thing. Nobody wants to go through that. They know it's a big-ass hassle. And they also know there's a lot of lazy-ass judges out there that'll get the information from the officer and just take it firsthand. They won't think anything deeper than that because they trust whatever officers say to the nth degree, no matter who it is, no matter what the background is, no matter what the circumstances is. If an officer says A, B, and C, that's what they take it as gospel. And these law enforcement members know that. They know that. It's a game. I'm going to inconvenience you because you irritated me. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Corinne's in the house. She writes, if House Bill 22 passes in Ohio, all the people recording could have been charged. You're right by that. You're right by that. So what we're seeing, family, is a real pushback, from people out there that feel as if there's an assault going on police officers. I'm not an officer, so it's up to each individual officer to make that decision. I will say generally that what I understand about these House bills in Ohio, I think is 109 and House Bill 22. They both do different things, but I think you're right. It's House Bill 22 in particular, that if you're taunting a police officer, then, and the police officer asks you to leave and you don't leave, then they can arrest you because now you're obstructing them mentally or something like that. I think that's what the testimony from the Columbus police chief, in my opinion, in terms of Columbus, the fact that the Columbus police chief testified in public to that nature disqualifies him from being a police chief, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, the moment he opened his mouth and made that statement, that completely disqualifies him, in my opinion. It sounds ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous. And again, I want to make this point, family, that we already know. A lot of non-black people completely misread the black community. You don't know what you're talking about. Black people inherently only have a problem with police because of the systematic oppression and abuse that we've had to deal with. I have no problem with police. I will call the police on a mofo that's doing some dumb ish around me in a second. And the thing about me is I'm not going to hide about it. I'm not going to hide. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to stand straight on my porch when the boys roll down on you, and I'm going to sit there and watch. And if I need to point and talk with them, and I don't care. Don't do that on my street. Don't do that around me and my family. Black, white, or whatever, I'm going to work with the boys. We're going to stop it. Simple as that. I've done it before. I've done it again. Where I live at right now. Oh, you going to sell heroin on my block? Gotcha. You're going to get a description. You're going to get a pic. You're going to get it all. You're going to get it all. Because I ain't with it. You ain't doing that stuff around me and my family. And then something inexplicable happens, with your drug deal, and we catch a stray bullet or some other. Nah. We ain't doing that. And I feel the same way that a lot of law-abiding citizens do. Are there any more law-abiding citizens than black people? Because we already know how the system works. So the vast majority of black folks, man, they are law-abiding, tax-paying citizens who are concerned about the crime that they're dealing with in their neighborhoods and will work with the police, call the police. What you want me to do? You know what I'm saying? I'll get mad at those perpetrating the crime. My wife would tell you, man, we had some dudes that was operating on our street for the longest. I told her, I was like, damn, I don't want to do this. But what you want me to do? I'm a family man over here. You going to just sell weed? You going to sell heroin on my block? Okay. I mean, had the whole street lined up with customers. You just don't give a damn. Okay, you ain't going to be low-key about it. You just going to just take over the street. Okay, Nino, we got something for you. Last time I saw a dude, he was tripping over himself, running down the street. Boys jumped on him and everything. I was sitting on the porch watching. What? And we'll do it again. Don't do it around me. I ain't playing no games. Don't do it around me because I'm not going to jail for you. No, I ain't doing no. Anytime I do, it's time I deserve because I did something. I ain't going to jail because you did something. You must be out of your mind. It ain't happening. Friends, foes, family, don't put me in that position. Don't do it. you gonna regret it. Don't do it. I got too much to live for. You know what I'm saying? This is crazy.
Us out of the process.
Exactly.
Now, this is such a crazy scenario. Like, I can't even believe this actually happened to this woman
Yeah,
over
you
something
said
so
you give her
small.
one more time, like you're gonna do something. Are you serious?
Okay.
No.
That's one way of looking. Like, the way I look at it is I think the officers went too far. You're going to arrest her for that. That's one way of looking at it. But you know me, I like to look at things from multiple angles. Let's look at it from the other side. Okay. You got a state trooper out posted outside the governor's office. He got a job to do. His job, he's been told by the governor or his superiors or whoever, don't let nobody knock on this door. Don't let nobody come on this door. We doing business in here. Okay. Until we come out, this is what we want you to do. Okay. Woman comes up to him, representative or not. It don't matter whether she's an elected official to him in that moment because he got a job to do. She tries to push past him, knocks on the door. He tells her, don't do that again. I'm going to give you one chance. She's like, you going to give me one chance? Oh, okay, well, let me show you. Okay, now you're arrested. He gave her a chance. That's one way of looking at it. I'm just, again, for the sake of the conversation, I want to provoke the conversation. That is one way of looking at a family. That's undeniable. He gave her a warning. She didn't take the warning. And even though I think reasonable people will look at what she did and say it's very small, she still got a warning nonetheless. And she didn't take it. So she must want that work. And then when she getting it, when you get that work, then don't cry about it now. It's what you wanted. Because I told you to step away from the door, ma'am, and you didn't do that. They didn't slam her. Because I've seen officers slam people to the face, hands behind their back. Jaw gets broken on the concrete. You seen it too. Will slam literally the shit out of you. Literally. You had to stop at the restroom before they take you down to the police so you can clean yourself up. Like, literally, that can happen. You know what I'm saying? They didn't do that to her. They just politely, if you want to call it that, put their hands on her, arrested her, walked her out. Okay, let me. It's two sides of the way of looking. I want to look at it both ways as we keep the conversation going this morning at 513-873-7134. Again, you tell me what you think. Back to Drop's point, because I'm jumping around here. So back to Drop's point from what I've been reading from the fact checkers, because that's what they do these days. Across the board, the fact checkers fact checked Joe Biden yesterday in his first presidential news conference, and they came up with some of his remarks that were less than honest. Either he was trying to mislead people or it was a mistake. And he was asked a question. Well, he made a remark about the border in which he said the fact of the matter is things haven't really changed. And the way he was wrong is that there seems to be more unaccompanied immigrant children that are coming to the border at higher numbers. So this seems to be a real issue in terms of the border crisis and security. He was asked a question about taxes. It seems like he might have laid it on thick as well in terms of his critiques of the Republican Party. I mean, I get it. You know, I don't think anybody's infallible. We all make mistakes. But as I sit here right now, I read Joe Biden completely differently than I did former President Trump. Former President Trump was a raging narcissist who would lie about anything at any time if he felt like it benefited him in the moment. He'd lie about anything. This man would get off Air Force One, walk over to the press, and if the press asked him, did you just jump off of Air Force One? He'd say no, if for whatever reason it benefited him. I mean, here's a man who lied about the number of people at his inauguration for months and months and months. Here's a man who won the election and then lied about election tampering because he was upset that he won the electoral college vote, but not the popular vote. He lied about it for years and years and years. So I don't think that Joe Biden and Trump are anywhere near the same on that. I know Drop is trying to make that point, but no, Joe. Joe is far from perfect, but he ain't the lying ass motherfucker that Trump was. That's for damn sure. Trump would lie about anything all the time. It got to the point where the press conferences, it got to the point where the media stopped reporting on what Donald Trump was saying about COVID because he was lying so much, and the media thought that it was a threat to public health. So no, Drop and other black Republicans and conservatives, I know you trying real hard to try to paint Joe Biden in the same as Trump, but they are not the same. Now, Biden's just getting started, so he might disappoint us all, and I might have a different viewpoint in a year. But right now, they are not the same. They are not the same at all. One, as I said before, was a lying ass motherfucker who would lie about anything and everything all the time, anywhere, was always beating his chest about he's the greatest president ever, and that was the best this and the greatest that. I mean, it just got so old. It got so old. Oh, man. Francis writes, selective policing? Could have been. Good morning to you, Francis. Roy writes, Charlie Winburn should speak out against voter suppression, but he's not going to say anything because his party is doing it. Oh, you calling out Charlie Winburn, huh? Sister Iris writes, House Bill 22-109, SB 19 and 41, plus House Bill 99 gives teachers the ability to carry guns into schools. I'm setting up an interview on House Bill 99 right now to debate that issue. You know, I'm against teachers having guns per se, unless they get the I just feel like we putting too much on these people. You know, we want teachers to be security guards, and we want police officers to be counselors, right, in the schools. Can we just have everybody do their primary job and their only primary job only? Is that too much to ask for? We're putting a lot of pressure on these men and women. We really are. Speaking of pressure, we really haven't even talked about what's coming up here after, how do people feel about, 5 days a week after spring break? That's still a conversation as well. So my goal this morning was to share with you, or is to share with you, 3 stories that you might have missed. I shared 2 stories with you this morning that you might have missed already. I've got one more story. And this is more of like an observation kind of thing. I don't know. Again, I haven't talked with anybody about this. I'm going to drop some names in a second. I haven't talked to anybody about this. This is just something that I just kind of, just kind of hit me, as I was preparing for the show over the last couple of days, right? And that is the local city council race. Now, I think it's interesting because if you go back about 2-3 weeks ago, there was a statement that was put out by the Hamilton County, or the Democrat Party here in Cincinnati, Hamilton County, right? And their statement was that, and I don't know if they rescinded this or there've been some amendments on this or some updates or whatever. If anything has changed, set me straight. It'll change how I talk about and feel about this particular story. But family, so about 2-3 weeks ago, there was a news article in which the Democrat Party said that if you're seeking the Democrat endorsement, then they don't want you to get endorsements from anybody else, which was interesting for some candidates more than others, because historically speaking, there have been members of city council, people that ran and actually got elected, that were endorsed by not just the Democrat Party, but also the Charter Right Party as well. Okay, Charter Right Party gives you an endorsement, so does the Democrat Party. But as I understand it, and again, something needs to be updated, set me straight. The Democrat Party put out a statement saying, look, if you want this Democrat Party nomination, which is very, very influential, that Democrat nomination can get you 3, 4, 5,000, 7,000, 8,000 votes. That could be the difference between winning and losing. Okay, so that local Democrat machine is of value to candidates that are running for city council. Is it more valuable than Charter Right? For whatever reason, I want to say yeah right now, but I don't statistically have done no investigation. I have no data to back that up. It's just my opinion. Okay, so follow me on this. So they put this out 2 or 3 weeks ago, right? Okay, so you got to ask yourself, so how many candidates does that really impact? Like, of all the people that we've heard right now who are running for city council, like, how many of them are going to be seeking both the charter right nomination and also the Democrat nomination? I don't know, except for one. That's Cam Hardy, which I think is quite interesting. And I'm going to watch this to see what happens, because we all know that Cam Hardy is running for city council, right? We've known this for some time. Okay, he's running for city council. Young brother, who is the president of the Better Bus Coalition, and then led the charge to get some significant funding changes for our bus system here. And I think anybody that's objective would say he appears to be, in my opinion, he's a front runner for city council based upon the work that he's done. This is not an endorsement. I'm just saying this is just my personal opinion. And I don't know where I was. I'm on his Twitter page or Facebook page, but he put out a statement saying that he was going to seek the Democrat nomination as well, which, if you think about it, presents a little bit of an issue. So what does that mean for Cam Hardy? I don't mean to call him out. It's just something I'm curious about. So if Cam Hardy is he's already got the charter right nomination, all right? But he's also seeking a Democrat nomination. Does that mean that the Democrats are not going to endorse Cam Hardy for city council coming up? Just something to think about. I don't know if this again, I could be wrong on this, but I'm just seeing something here that we could be talking about in the days and weeks as we get closer to this city council election. Because what if the Democrats say, well, look, we told you, Cam, we ain't giving no nominations to people that got nominations from the charter. And you've already got that. I think that would be quite interesting. Because if you're the Democrat Party, what do you need? If you're the Democrat Party, what do you need locally? What you need is spectacular candidates, because y'all got a problem. Whether you want to believe it or not, in the minds of the general public, the stain of what happened on city council with PG Sinfield and Tamaya Denard is going to be on the Democrat Party, period. Okay? I'm just saying. I mean, there's just no way around it. Is it fair? Is it not fair? Well, it's a little bit of both. I mean, I think it's unfair ultimately, because I think that people should be held accountable for what they do individually. But when you're a part of a larger group, it's just going to happen. Like when you do something dumb, it's going to stick on the other people that's a part of the group that you associate with. It is what it is. So what's going to happen here? Will the Democrats go back on their initial statement in which they said, look, we're not going to give a nomination to people that got a nomination from the Charter Right Party? Or will they not give a nomination to Cam Hardy? That's quite, again, I'm not advocating either way. I mean, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. To me, it's just an interesting quandary. It's an interesting potential question that I want to keep my eyes on. Nat writes, Cam was on Lincoln yesterday licking Steve Leeper's boots, shaking my damn head. Was he? I didn't hear it. Glenn writes, Cam had to apologize for past tweets. Still think he's a good candidate. Yeah, I did see he apologized in a video last week or something, but he came on this show and talked about that, at least in the text message. I think it came up. I gave my opinion about it. I mean, I think that if you're going to represent people, then you need to be mature. I don't want nobody immature representing me on city council. And by immature, here you are saying dumb stuff on Twitter. That's a bad recipe right there. Because if you're doing it before you got on city council, you'll be doing it if you get on city council. And we don't need that kind of leadership. But that's interesting. I mean, let's see what happens here, because I would say that the Democrat Party, they got all these candidates. A lot of them are really fantastic. But I would say, this is just my personal opinion, that there are some who are looming more prominent to me than others. And of all the people who are currently unelected, there's a group of people who are currently unelected who I think would be great city council members. I would say, in my personal opinion, Cam Hardy is a part of that list. It'll be interesting to see how that works out. Because on the surface, it seems like Cam would be a great candidate for the Democrats to endorse. I mean, he's been putting in work, grassroots work, been successful. I mean, with that push on the county level to get more funding, that's historic. Despite the stuff that happened with the video back in the day, was it 7 years ago, something like that? I mean, we do a lot of growth in 7-8 years. I don't know. It's going to be real interesting to see how they deal with that. But let me go straight to the phones. We got somebody on the line. Hey, good morning, and welcome to the show.
Nate?
Yes, I'm here.
Nate Daniel? Charlie Winburn. How you doing?
Hey, Charlie. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
All right. First of all, I love this show, and actually, I like all the people on the show. And Glenn actually raises a good point, and some of the others do too. One of those who know me, I am not afraid of the devil, hell, or anybody. And but the good point is, there's always some truth, even when people attack you or hammer you. There's always an element of truth, and I believe Glenn and a few others who are on there said, well, won't Winburn speak out? Won't he say something? Won't he speak up about this? I think they make a good point in that I don't. Again, let me just put a disclaimer. I don't care about anyone attacking me and doing all that. I always tell people, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. And I'm one of these guys. I grew up on the streets and the whole things, and I know how to attack. I know how to hurt, but I don't do that anymore unless I have to. But I wanted to put that disclaimer first. So let's talk about what Glenn and a few others are saying about Charlie Winburn. Well, first of all, I don't spend my time, and this is being recorded. So what I like about your show, Nate, people can go back and hear what I say. And what I say, I'll say on WLW or all these other shows. And by the way, I don't spend my time on these other shows. I'm usually on either Lincoln Wire or now here lately with you. And I don't. I guess if there's people that think I'm over there on the dial or whatever you call it, I don't think I've been on any of those stations in 2 years. Now, I could be wrong, 2 or 3 years. So I don't hang in those areas. But I will tell you this. When I go back over there, I will talk about this voter suppression thing. And that's what I really, really want to get to. And again, I want to always say, when people attack you, there's always some truth there. They may not be totally true, but there's always some truth. The truth is, I could say more about this, and I am, and I think I will. And let me just tell you this. What happened, let's just look at Georgia. And I want to be on record as a Frederick Douglass Republican. And there's another thing, too. There are people that think that the Republican Party sits around a table and control Charlie Winburn and tell me what to do. Many times, our party don't come to me for anything, and especially when it comes to issues of voting in African American communities and passing laws that restrict our community. They don't come to me about that. So I guess people would not know that unless I say that. So I don't have my party chairman or party manipulating me or bringing me in meetings or whipping me up or or doing any of that. And by the way, those who know me, I've raised my own money. In 1993, when I actually decided after 28 years or so as a Democrat that we shouldn't put all our eggs in one basket, I didn't join the Republican Party because they were so great. And matter of fact, I was in the Democratic Party and they ended up treating me like a dog while I was there too. So wherever you go, somebody like me gonna catch hell whether you're a Democrat or Republican. But nevertheless, I came with my own money, Nate. I've always had raised my own money, got my own money. So when I came into the Republican Party, I had my own money. So and when you got your own money, you have a little more power and you have more say. So never at one time have the Hamilton County Republican Party told me how to vote and what to do, because they know that's not going to work. And when I was with a Democratic Party, they tried to do that, tell me what to do. It ain't going to work if I was a Democrat. So let's get back to suppression. I think what the Republicans are doing in Georgia especially is a disgrace from amazing grace. And I'll say it on Lincoln. I'll say it on WLW. I don't hang over there. People, I guess they think I call all these shows. I don't do that. That's never been my style. But when I do go over there, I plan to integrate what I'm saying here. And anybody want to quote me, you can. I don't care. But what happened in Georgia, I'm telling you, it is one of the saddest things I've ever seen on. And by the way, we should stop saying suppression. No, let's call it suppression of the vote. It's stealing the vote. And then to have people stand in line and you cannot give people water and it would be a crime. I'm telling you, that is one of the most, dishonorable, dehumanizing approach to anything I've ever seen. And it is wrong. And matter of fact, you don't have to be a Democrat or Republican to speak up for something like that. I think it's terribly wrong. And I'm going to be talking with our Secretary of State sometime today. He called me yesterday, and I really want to tell him I hope he don't go down that track. And I don't support any stealing of our vote. I don't know why we keep using the word suppression of the vote. Call it what it is. It's stealing the vote. It is wrong. It is wrong. And especially, you got to remember, I'm black. They're doing this to me. I mean, whether I'm a Republican, a Democrat, or independent, they're doing this to me too. So I do want to thank Glenn and others. And I don't need nothing from Glenn. I don't need nothing from these guys. I don't need them to approve me or sanction me or help me. I'm not asking nothing from them. They have a right to do it, but there is an element of truth to what they're saying. So I want to be on record, and y'all could tell the world, hell, I do not support what is going on all over the country about, especially, and it's sad that our Republican Party around the country is doing it. I'm not a member of the National Republican Party. I'm not a member of the State Republican Party. I am a local Republican here, so I'm not as involved as many would think I am in the heart of the party. And but again, I've never had my party chairman here locally, never had any of the party chairmen, Nate, to ever ask me to do something against the African American community, because I wouldn't do it anyway. And they know not to come to me. So I'm not part of what we call the hierarchy of the Republican Party or the policy making decision. I just felt in 1993 when that black folks should not put all their eggs in one basket. And I told my wife, you stay a Democrat, I'm going to be a Republican. And I've always, my views around pro-life, when I was a Democrat, I was pro-life. I was always for one man, one woman. I was a Democrat, and I was considered what they call a blue dog type Democrat. So that's why people keep saying, oh, man, Whitbert he talks a little bit like a Democrat, but he's a member he's a part of the Republican Party. So that's all I want to say. And this is on voter stealing. It is wrong. I don't care who is doing it. And it so happened to be the Republican Party, especially in Georgia. So if you have any questions you want to ask me, I'm not going to run from them. I'll be glad to answer any question. And I hope I'm clear on my position around around stealing the vote from African American people. It is wrong.
Well, Charlie, thank you for the call. Appreciate you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, most
definitely.
Yeah, Charlie Winburn ain't scared of y'all. He ain't scared of your comments. It's like, look, let me go ahead and answer this. Matter of fact, Glenn writes, that's not good enough. What else you want him to say, Glenn? You said he didn't agree with it. Yeah, I mean, we didn't talk about this. I mean, we didn't talk about this particularly. We've been talking about the ban down in Georgia. But part of it is they banned in Georgia giving water to voters in line. Now, why would you put a ban on giving water to voters in line? Why? Because they don't want you to vote. They want you to have super long lines, no bathrooms, smaller times in which the smaller window that actually clashes with the workday, because they don't want you to vote down in Georgia. They don't want black folks to vote. They're not saying you can't vote. They just want to make it as difficult as possible. Now, why would you ever ban giving water to people in line? Like, what's the problem with that? It's just amazing. So basically, Donald Trump and the Republicans go out and tell a whole bunch of lies about how the election integrity is in question, right? They tell so many lies for so long that members of the public actually start to pick up on it and echo it. Then these same folks will turn right around and say, see, there's a lot of people who feel as if there was something happened with the election. So they'll use their own lies to justify what they want to do. Kemp said that he didn't apologize. I'm talking about the Republican governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp. And we already know he's a sucking MC because of his history down in Georgia. We know this already. He's a threat to the people, to the working class people. Anyway, he didn't offer an apology, and he said, quote, taking another step to making our election fair and secure. He said there's a lot of people that felt as if there was widespread election issues. Well, there's no evidence of it. The only reason why people felt that way is because Republicans and media that favors Republicans told them that. So then they'll stand back and say, well, I hear what you're saying, but there's a lot of doubt about it. There's a lot of doubt about it because your party created the doubt. Now, there's no evidence. So what do we know? You can have doubt with no evidence. You can have doubt about an election even though there's no evidence that the election was stolen whatsoever. And then you can use the doubt that you created as justification for what you want to do. That's simple as that. That's why when people bring up the argument about, well, where's the evidence? They don't even talk about the evidence. What they talk about is the fact that there's a lot of people who feel like something went wrong. And they're right because they told them that. You got all these, you got the president saying every time you have a press conference for weeks, for months before the election, Donald Trump, like a child, and anybody with children could see this coming. Because children think they got their little maneuvers, they're going to outsmart mom and dad. And you just sitting here watching the whole time like, That's what we did with Donald Trump. Before the 2020 election, Donald Trump for months started setting the table, talking about, election fraud, mail-in voting. Because he knew that he was whack. He knew he had a good chance of losing. And he wanted to set the table for when he lost to have a rationale. I didn't lose fair and square. It was stolen. It was stolen. It was stolen. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Nathan Ivey and the good people of Cincinnati, and well, it's the good people around the world, and yes, those choppers. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Welcome.
You know, you and Mr. Winburn, interesting flows, and even some of your previous callers before Mr. Winburn, about voter suppression. Yes, it's very, very important, as it seems like Georgia is going to be the state to lead the charge. And if this plays out, other states will chime in the same way. Those states that Trump lost, this will probably play out probably the same way. Voter suppression is voter suppression. It goes on since we were able to start voting in this country right after the Civil War, and they continue to doing it. It's about stopping Black people of color from moving forward. And we see the charge of African American women charging in all fronts to the highest pedestals of vice presidency, all the way down state, local, and local positions across the country. This is what they want to stop. So I do agree with your assessments with Mr. Winburns and some of your callers about stopping the Black vote or people of color from moving forward. And we're going to see how this is going to play out. If the Democrats are going to have the guts to go to the Supreme Court. I think supposedly in Georgia, the NAACP has already filed a lawsuit, and that's probably going to go all the way up to the Supreme Court. I don't know how long that's going to drag out to get it into the hands of the Supreme Court. And you saw Donald Trump already stacked the deck on the Supreme Court already. But sometimes the Supreme Court don't play it out the way they want the Republicans to play it out. They get a little conscious, or they get a little guts in them to go the opposite way because they know people are watching them. So we're going to see how this is going to play out. I challenge you, Mr. Nathan Ivey. As quietly as it been kept, I know it's only 100 days of Biden taking office, but you know how I feel about reparation. That's on the top of the ticket with me. I don't give a damn about Republicans fighting the Democrats fighting Republicans. We have a window of 4 years of dealing with reparation. Now, I've done my research over the years, and supposedly when Biden came in, yes, there are various organizations across the country that have been pushing for reparations since the 70s and 80s. One organization in Washington, I forgot the name, I don't have it in front of me. But the sister in Texas, it would be nice if you can get, I can't think of her name right now, a congresswoman that took over the gauntlet for reparation. It would be nice if you can get her on the line or somebody in her office. Supposedly, what I'm hearing, there is a secret organization that's already been formed and already studying the platform for reparation, and there are different organizations that have been pushing for reparation, and some people are taking the money under the table. I got an issue with that. Stop it. You know, there are Catholic churches, universities, insurance company. It was an article I read about 3 years ago. The CEO for Wells Fargo already stated, it's on print. You know, I'm not getting it from John. You're getting it from John. But the CEO for Wells Fargo already stated it's time to pay reparation. Oh, they see where it's going. And yeah, banks go all the way back to slavery. They were a part of slavery. Railroad stations, film companies. It's the list is long. You know, insurance companies. They've all been a part of slavery and reparation. They know they got to pay. Even Catholic churches already are jumping on the platform, stating, "Yeah, it's time to pay." And we saw the press earlier this week, last weekend, a Illinois city already adopted a bill paying for reparation. And they already voted on it, the city council. I forgot the city. I got the article around here someplace, but you can look it up, easily look that up. They're going to pay reparation. Well, I have an issue with that. Wait a minute, John. I thought you said you're for reparation. Hold on a second. This is where you do not do things under the table without the Black community and this secret Black organization knowing once you take that check or money or whatever you get, they don't want to hear from you no more. Nobody should not be taking anything without the Black community in this country knowing about it. I have an issue with that. They should not be doing that. So reparation is very important. It's going to happen, Mr. Nathan Ivy, on me and your time. Maybe I'll be gone when it happens, but it's going to happen. But I feel this window of opportunity for reparation is 4 years. Okay, go back to Barack Obama. He had a chance of dealing with reparation. What did he do? He took the high road. But he did state to a press conference, and somebody in the back room said, "What are you going to do about reparation, Barack Obama?" And the handkerchief wearing Black people, be quiet, shh, be quiet. Well, Barack Obama said, no. He has a valid question. I'm going to answer that. And he said to that person in the back room, "Go to your constituents and make me deal with it." Well, 8 years went by and we did not make Barack Obama deal with reparation. I blame us too, Mr. Nathan Ivy. I blame us for over 150 years. We did not pressure this country to deal with reparation. And now we have this window of opportunity to deal with reparation. And if we don't deal with it, then shame on us, our kids, and our kids' kids. Because it is no guarantee Biden will get a second term. Well, I told you, he's not going to finish the whole 4 years. That's my personal opinion. If he does finish it, he's not going to do a second term. He's not going to do a second term. So Miss Kamala Harris will probably step in. But this opportunity is in front of us. And if we, then shame on us. So Nathan Ivy, I challenge you to pick a program one day in the future and put your studiers and your teachers and your scholars on reparation. Invite them in to come and speak, because I think you should do one day of just dealing with reparation and see what the outcry is going to be. You got some handkerchief wearing Black people that are not for it, and you got 80 to 90% that is in for it. But if you look at the companies that I mentioned to you that know it's coming, they're starting to pay. And my issue with some of these people, you should not be taking anything without this committee, whoever's formed under that, and that sister in Texas that had that whole reparation bill. You should try to get her on as scholars and talk about it, because we need to put pressure. We need to put pressure on Kamala Harris as well as Joe Biden. You're going to deal with reparation because we put you in there. You're not going to escape from it. Your comments, sir.
No comments, John. I appreciate your flows, man. Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend.
Take it easy. That's John. Off topic as usual, because he doesn't listen to the show before he calls in. He just calls in talking about reparations. Every time he says handkerchief, head wearing Black people, I think about him, because we voted, John. You didn't. You ain't registered to even vote locally. You got the nerve to call somebody hecking shift head. You're talking about yourself, black man. If we're going to continue to have these conversations into this millennium, you're going to have to get registered, man, and start voting. It's hard for me to take it seriously. But let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Nate, how you doing, bro?
Hey, what's going on, Mason Mahler?
I'm stemmy, but I'm fired up, Nate. You know, after you work out and you still got that adrenaline rush, and you was like, hell, I could have walked a couple of more miles. I could have lifted a couple of more pounds.
It's a great feeling.
That's what I feel right now. First of all, on the behalf of the Chop Shop, John, shut the hell up. Who the hell are you talking about? We voted him in. You didn't vote, fool. Nate, I'm not giving any choice to anybody. But you know why I called in. Charlie, with all due respect, and I really don't know how to approach this in a authentic, raw, chop shop way because he's a pastor. You know, I grew up with parents. I know you got to respect, the preachers in our community. And, we know that black preachers in our community are some of the most respectable people out there. But with all due respect, Charlie Winburn, you're full of crap. And I'm going to say it. First of all, it shouldn't take me asking questions for you to finally come out and say something. You should have woke up, I don't know, like 3 days ago with Wakanda blood running through your brains like, oh, hell no. And then you get on this station and give a whataboutism. Talking about, I'm not a state Republican. What the hell does that mean? What the hell does that mean? And then you get on Lincoln Ware's show yesterday talking about, well, I've been a Republican for a long time, and what would I look like, coming out against my party? I don't know, Charlie. That's not a problem for Colin Powell. That's not a problem for Condoleezza Rice. That's not a problem for Mia Love out in Utah. That's not a problem for Michael Steele, former RNC chairman of the Republican Party, who's also black. So miss me with that crap. Then you get on there talking about bringing up stuff about what Cecil Thomas did as a Democrat back in 2000, whatever. But then you talk about how you got with another Democrat, Wendell Young, to reverse the law. So what are you saying? Charlie? You should have woke up like when the Twin Powers activate. Form of a big ass black fist. Form of voting black voters matter. It shouldn't have took me. It shouldn't have took the Chop Shop. And oh, by the way, Nate, we love your show, and we know you go viral. Everybody knows who you are. But, Charlie, we need better than that. I need you to take your ass down in front of the courthouse and say it to 5, 9, and 12. Say it to Trisha Mackey. Say it to Sharon Coolidge. Say it to Jason Williams. But you know why you won't do it? Because you know Alex trying to fool you would grab you by your little preacher collar and drag you off the stage. And the whole idea, when it comes to things like this, they don't come to me. How the hell they don't come to you? You've been a Republican for 4 decades. 40 years, Charlie. Maybe even longer than that. Then you got the nerve to talk about, I grew up on the street. You grew up on the streets. You know how hard it is, and you became a Republican? Man, please. You gotta be kidding me. So no, it's not good enough just to talk to black radio folks. Because we already know this, Charlie. Hell, we the ones sitting here like, where the hell you been? Why you late to the party? No, say it to the people that need to hear it. The people that are part of your party. Maybe they'll come out and say, oh my God, Charlie's a great guy. And if Charlie knows the significance of this, if Charlie knows that it's racist and he's stating it publicly, maybe we need to change some of our laws. Because some of the same laws that they're doing in Republican legislatures all around the freaking country, they're going to try to do it in Ohio. You can best believe that. Donald Trump right now is vetting governor candidates in the state of Ohio. He's already talked to the Josh Mandels of the world. The lady that was the head of the Republican Party, was her name? Jane Tifkin. She's a MAGA one. You should have came out, Charlie, I don't know, before January the 6th. How about that? So miss me with that side. You're doing nothing but dry snitching. That's what we call it. You don't really want to come out and say what you got to say, but it's like, I don't know that body, but I know somebody. Man, please. You don't come out because I said, you should have been in your blood. You should have been in the top. You should have went to bed dreaming about what you gonna say and how you gonna respond. And I'm telling you right now, be ready, Charlie, because you're gonna be the next topic of the Politically Petty podcast show. I am calling you out, and all the other black Republicans. No, that's not good enough, Charlie. And when you do have that press conference in front of the federal building, in front of City Hall, I'm going to drag my ass down from Warren County just to sit there in the front row. And I'm going to make sure that you say everything that you said on the Nathan Ivey show in public in front of everybody. Just don't talk to your little cousins. Talk to everybody. Nate, is there anything you want to ask me? Because I'm about to get off, man. I'm about to go back to Planet Fitness.
You gonna get it. Now you got worked up again, huh? No, nothing, man. People are reacting to what you're saying. People are reacting right now. You're going in.
And like I said, I don't know. I got respect, but I don't have any more respect, Charlie. I really don't, man. You come in here, you try to be all nice, and God bless and all that crap. I mean, you can freaking hand out chicken plates and do freaking exorcisms, but you can't come out and get your own damn party. Right. I'm tired of it, Nate.
Damn. I feel you, bro. I feel you. Thanks for the call. Anything else?
You have a good one, man.
Yep. Appreciate the call. That's Mason Marley. He just went in on Charlie Winburn. And, I'm laughing because it's funny. And I'm laughing at some of his remarks. But, I mean, just knowing Charlie Winburn, he's somewhere cracking up right now. He cracking up right now. He said he gave him all the business. Hey, it comes with the territory. I tell people it comes with the territory on this show. I get it. Everybody gets it. It comes with the territory. Do you agree with Glenn? Let me Rice, calm down. Irish Rice, it doesn't sound like you have respect. Jesse Rice, LOL, not an exorcism. Let's go back to the foes. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Nate. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Is this Terrence?
Hey, yes, sir. Yes, it is.
Hey, good to see you, Terrence. Or good to hear from you.
You as well. I need whatever Glenn has to make it a double. Because that type of intensity, that ferocity is exactly what we need to commit our efforts to what's going on down there in Georgia. We have seen this historically before in our nation's history, and we know damn well there's going to be several other states that's going to be following in fashion. And we need to make sure that we take the time, formulate a plan, and make sure that we show these other state legislators that, Georgia's going to be made an example of. I've seen some people calling for a boycott of all corporate interests in Georgia. I've seen where people are calling for events to be canceled, people not attend. There's got to be a price to pay for what's going on here. This is a total disenfranchisement of our individual and collective power as individuals with the right to vote. The whole entire deception of this entire thing that's going on, the big lie, several people, I vehemently despise Donald Trump. A lot of the things that he was doing, some of the surface level things that he was doing, some people could see, but not necessarily understand, the long-term effects of what it was that he was capitulating. And here we see now the end result of the intentional disenfranchisement of Africans who he once quipped to us before, what do we have to lose? Briefly, I take exception almost any time John calls in and talks about anything that requires the utilization of a vote to get anything done. And here's what I mean by that. He harped upon the whole entire reparations argument. We've seen this argument about reparations, the demand, how do we do it? We see an example of Evansville, Illinois, with that. And again, I think some people are disconnected from the actual process of how these things work. The power of the purse does not, belie with the president or the vice president. It's the body of Congress, which means you must get a 2/3 majority in the House and Senate, unless they change the filibuster rules in order for us to, on a federal level, achieve some type of reparations, which has been done historically for other ethnic minorities in the United States, the Asian community, Chinese community, Native Americans in some respect, but never us. But the one thing we separate from this argument, and it's the most critical component to it, is at what level of appropriations can we start to see a return on the investment of our ancestors? We can start locally. We can start with the county. We can start with the state, as you saw again in Evansville. A local municipality was able to do it. We have to vote, display our interests, and constantly petition our government for the things that we want, because they are there to serve us. They're not there to serve themselves. So it's really going to take a mind shift and a true concerted effort of everybody understanding that without your vote, there is no way that these funds are going to be appropriated on any level for us. And again, going into the next election, I advise everybody to go online to the Secretary of State's website and register to vote for the upcoming elections that we have. And that's all I got.
That's all I need, brother. Have a good day.
You too. Happy Friday.
Yep, happy Friday to you, man. It's a glorious Friday. I haven't been outside this morning. I'm not even sure what the weather's supposed to be like, but it's great to be alive, family. It's great to be alive. Want to remind you, coming up on Monday, that's March 29th at 6 p.m., you are invited to the Let's Talk About It series, continuing conversation about the effort to repeal, number one, to inform people about the impact of House Bill 6, and then to create conversations around it as well so people can get educated. The next one is this Monday, March 29th at 6 p.m. You can watch it on Facebook at the Common, COMMEN Strategies Facebook page, and I'll be sharing it as well between today and Monday, so that when the event happens, you'll know when and where, so you can be involved with it and get as much information as possible. How does this impact Black people in the state of Ohio? How does this impact people in the state of Ohio? Okay, all those questions will be answered, and you'll get more information about the effort to raise information and to put up a resistance against it as well. So again, that's on Monday, March 29th at 6 p.m., family. Looking forward to it. Also, my friends over at newcommunitychurch.org, they're doing something new in the calendar year 2021. It's called the Focus 2021 series. And to kick things off, they're offering a free ebook that you can download this morning. It is 100% free. You can download it to whatever device that you would like to. There's a link in today's description, or you can simply go to renewcommunitychurch.org. And while you're doing that, you can also sign up for 30 minutes of free professional coaching with Charlie Winburn. It can be on a matter of spirituality, or it could be an entrepreneurial issue or question that you have, could be business related, whatever the case may be. There's a sign-up process, and they want to get some information before you actually schedule, as you're getting scheduled for the 30 minutes of free coaching, which I think people understand. They want to make sure they have an idea of what it is that you're looking for, and they want to make sure they don't waste your time, or time isn't wasted in general. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in, jump on it today. This is a limited time offer. Download your free ebook this morning. Get signed up for 30 minutes of free professional coaching. And when you do, hit me with a DM and let me know about your experience. I'm very curious. Want you to get something out of it and set yourself up for success and for the rest of the calendar year. That's it. Just set yourself up for success. Morning, Clarence. He writes, morning, Chop Shop. Yeah, Glenn went in this morning. Lemmy writes, in Cincinnati, you have so-called Democrats that are really Republicans. Name them. So-called Democrats that are really Republicans. That's an interesting question. Hey, Kamara. Kamara writes, people over party. Good morning to you, Kamara. Good to see you. Let me see. Yeah, going back and forth. TNT posted the Cincinnati NAACP's reparation proposal. Thank you for that. I'll check that out. I mean, people don't even know, and you know this, TNT, but people don't even know what your local NAACP is doing. It's just so much that local organizations are doing that people are not even aware of. They ain't even aware of it. Let me see. I mean, that's true, but I bet small biz like Nathan appreciates the business. Oh, absolutely. All dollars are not good dollars, but yeah, I mean, any small business appreciates the business that they get for sure. Lemmy writes, let's go Democrats, independent and people of color, Jews, Muslims, Asians, stand up. I'm with you. Let's do it. Let me see. That's Charlie on the phone. Sarah writes, Mason Mahler is hot. He was hot. Joe writes, not chicken dinners and exorcisms. You had to bring up the chicken dinners and the exorcisms, huh? You had to bring up old stuff. I know Charlie Winburn can't speak for him. He might be somewhere like, why y'all bringing up old stuff? Charlie writes, did not vote for either one. Thanks for asking. Celeste writes, John Cranley. Brent writes, Nathan Ivey, have you downloaded and read the free ebook? Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Celeste writes, John Cranley. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. You're going to put John Cranley out there, our great mayor. You know he's been doing everything he can for the people. Charlie writes, did Winburn vote for Trump or Biden? I think he answered. He said he didn't vote for either one of them, which, you know, that's his right. That's his right. Do what you want to do with your vote. Yeah, I just try to share information with people and share strong opinions. Brian writes, the attack in Georgia is the same as the moves to make it illegal to talk to arresting cops, which is the same as moves to end the need to retreat, which is the same as not letting workers infected by COVID hold employers accountable. It's all moves to clamp down on our rights to resist and engage in political/social struggle activity. If we remove the focus on just voting, we miss the foundation of these attacks and knowingly peddle the ideas that our biggest power is our vote rather than ourselves in action. Interesting. Interesting. I think I'm inclined to agree with the direction he's talking about right there. I think I agree with that as I understand it. Very interesting. It is all connected. All this stuff is connected. He was 100% right. What you're seeing in Georgia is connected to what you're seeing in Ohio and Kentucky in terms of crackdowns on people who might insult police officers. It's all the same. It's all the same. And so what that means is there were people, see, last year, I keep asking this question and I haven't gotten a satisfactory answer. I keep asking what has changed from last year. Last summer, it was so historic. People in every major city hit the streets. People are more woke than ever before. What's the long-term impact on that? Sure, we got some Black Lives Matter murals, but what does that really matter? You know what I'm saying? What you see in a lot of these states, man, is a crackdown from the other side. People that looked at what happened last year and they're like, oh, we got to protect police more. Oh, we're not going to defund the police. In fact, we're going to overfund the police. You say defund the police, I say give them even more funding. You know what I'm saying? Like every time, for me, the efforts to cause real, meaningful structural change have been beaten down. Like the people said they wanted meaningful structural change in terms of the business of our police departments and how they operate, right? Have we really received that? I don't think so. You may have some success stories here or there, but by and large, the empire is striking back. And they're going to do everything they can to protect the way they want to see things. And that's just what it comes down to. I share this with you, hopefully in the spirit that it will enrage you, engage you, fire you up. You know, listen, if they can do that, we can do something on the other side. I like what Terrence said. He said there should be consequences for what they did in Atlanta. I agree. I agree. And what about the owner of these big time businesses down in Atlanta? You take it out on them. You know, You take it out on, traveling to not Atlanta, but to Georgia. You take it out in that way, and maybe, it might open some doors and open some eyes. I don't know. But you can't even give water to somebody that's standing in line. That's the stupidest thing I've heard in my life. So you telling me you're going to have police officers, sheriff deputies, members of law enforcement that are going to arrest people because they saw somebody give somebody a water. It's completely ridiculous. But can you imagine how things were 100 years ago, 80 years ago? Like if they're doing that now in our faces, can you imagine what it was like for our ancestors 100 years ago? They ain't have a chance. They ain't have a chance. I have managed to get this far into the show, and I haven't mentioned Derek Jackson not one time, but that's about to change because his mistress is now talking in the media. There's a video on YouTube right now. You can check it out for yourself, but the mistress of Derek Jackson is saying, and it's just some things in this, man, that is just, let me play this for you. And again, this will be a great way to end the show, something a bit lighter, right? Let me play this for you because we talked about Derek Jackson. I know that Donnie B is going to talk about Derek Jackson at 12:30 today. Everybody's talking about Derek Jackson, right? That's the topic du jour, and for good reasons, because it's got all the elements that we like in a story. I like it too. And in terms from the relationships, there's some really interesting stuff that we can get out of it. So let me play this for you, and then I'm going to chime in and share some comments. But this is an interview, and I don't know the name of the host, or I would shout them out. I'm sure they're doing great work. But this is an interview with a woman who claims that she was having a sexual relationship with Derek Jackson. That's the brother you can see right there. If you don't know who he is, he's like a big-time relationship somebody on YouTube selling books and how-to and videos, got 700,000 subscribers on YouTube. He's a big deal, right? A lot of people follow him. And he came out this week and admitted that he had a sexual relationship with another woman and cheated on his wife. And of course, he blamed God. Like, that's the reason why people believe in God, because God is like, he's like that, and he's like an invisible accomplice who don't say anything in his own defense. People go out here and do all kind of evil and mayhem and blame God. Cheat on your wife. I'm just not right with God. No, you just ain't right. Don't bring God into it. But let me play this for you, and I'll chime in with a few flows here or there. Check this out. That's not it at all. Hold on one second. Let's let that commercial go through. They're not paying for me. Subaru people are not paying me. Hold on. So we got a call on the line. Let me take a call real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about Derek Jackson. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Brother Nate, good morning. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Who am I speaking with?
This is Ronald Lackey giving you a call.
Hey, what's up, Ronald? Welcome.
Not much. I've made your show a part of my my morning routine, which is something that I protect. So I'm a huge fan. I love what you're doing. Love what you've been doing. Definitely want to support. And
thank you.
I wanted to choose your show as the place for me coming out and letting people know that I'm running for the U.S. Senate in 2022 to represent Ohio.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
We got to do, Ronald, then we got to schedule time for you to come back, man, so we can talk more about your platform. But real quick,
Definitely.
Since you called in, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, and you had somebody else speaking earlier, the quote you read about putting instead of the vote and actually it being a thing of action. That's something that I flirted with and thought about a long time. And I was sitting there, it was late November. And that's when I decided, I said, you know what? It's time for me to put this in action and actually make a run. Being a servant is something that I've done for a while. I've been coaching football in the city of Cincinnati at the high school level since 2009. I'm currently the defensive coordinator at Aiken. Been there for 4 years. So we're going into our fourth season at Aiken. So serving the community, making sure that I give is something that I do naturally. Not a career politician, never held public office before. And where I want to get into the game is at the Senate level. And I'm doing that because I feel it's my calling. It's something that I need to do in order to see the change that I want to see actually come to fruition.
Okay. I love it, man. But listen, Ron, we definitely gonna have to catch up, man. I mean, can you reach out? Can we connect via Facebook and then set up a time for you to come in and talk about your platform?
Definitely, we can do that. If people want to check out the platform, I made it kind of easy. If you go to Twitter, it's just Senator Lackey. I've already claimed it as me being that senator. So if you just go to Senator Lackey on Twitter, or you can look at hashtag Lackey 2022. I got the platform already out there. I've got pretty much each topic broken down in less than 140 characters. People want to ask me questions. I got the email set up if they want to shoot me an email. But I definitely want to come on. The chop shop is where they keep it real. I know that that's where I would be held accountable. And
Oh,
being held
absolutely.
accountable is the only thing. I won't go forward with this if I don't have enough people holding me accountable.
I love it, man. Hey, Ron, thanks for that, man. Do you got your website up yet?
Not yet. Not
Okay.
yet. But yeah, the Twitter page is there. The YouTube page is going up. All that stuff is going up. This is straight grassroots, getting this out the mud.
I love it, man. Hey, Ron, I'll be in contact, man, so we can bring you on. And I wish you the
Yes, sir. I
best.
appreciate you.
Oh,
Yes,
most
sir. Have a
definitely.
good weekend. And yeah, I look forward to hearing from you. And we'll definitely be speaking a lot more in the future.
Oh, absolutely. You already know that's Ron Lackey. He said Senator Lackey. He said he gonna make it happen. Listen. Anybody that says they're running, I want to talk with you. If you're gonna represent us in Cincinnati, Hamilton County, Ohio, I want to talk with you. I don't care what nobody says about your chances, because anytime you're in the race, you got a chance. Did you see my son come in? He dropped off a toy that he broke, and I guess I'm supposed. He just put it on my desk like, "I broke my toy, Dad." He didn't say nothing, did he? He waved, kissed me, he was out. So that's what I do. I'm toy fixer. You can add that to the various jobs that I do on a regular basis. I fix toys. He broke his Black Panther. You know, I was very upset, but I didn't get mad at him. Like, dang, you broke Black Panther. Why couldn't you break Thor? You couldn't break Captain America's arm. You had to break Thor's arm. I mean, Black Panther's arm. But it is what it is. He didn't do it on purpose. But that's Ronald Lackey right there, folks. He said he already know the reputation of the chop shop is in front of y'all. I'm telling y'all, when I talk to people about this show, I hear nothing but good things. And I hear good things primarily about the audience. You know, people like what we've built here, and it is a we thing. I have not done it by myself. We have done this together. We continue to do this together, and they enjoy the candidness. I'll say it again. CDM, this show, the shows are the most this is the home of the most unfiltered Black people in Cincinnati media. I say exactly what I feel. The people I work with, they say exactly how they feel. Period. Popular, unpopular, it is what it is, and that's what we offer. A fresh, completely unfiltered perspective on what's happening here locally, regionally, nationally, and around the world, and culturally and around the world. That's what you get. That's what you get. Celeste writes, where is it at? She writes, the feds need to step in. Come on, Moneybag Joe. Charlie Winburn writes, bless Glenn. He has always hated me. I just wanted to bless him and do him good. Bless and not curse. He said he's always hated me. Oh man. Amina writes, the interview is with Tasha K. Okay, it's with Tasha K. Well, Tasha K is doing great work. Props to Tasha K. I'm not hip to her. I'm sure she's doing great work. I wish her the best. But this is just as we end here, the last 8 minutes of the show. I mean, let's end in a more sort of like, lighthearted kind of manner. I mean, it is a Friday. It kind of makes sense. So here's an audio clip between Tasha K and the woman who claims that she was a mistress of Derek Jackson. Check this out. Now, how you gonna ask a woman who is having an extramarital affair with a married man? Like, because it's not in this particular part, but she thought he was married, but they were in the process of getting divorced, but still married. Now, how you gonna ask this woman that's having an affair with a married man a question about God? They both wrong. Like, if you're looking, if you're that kind of person, I'm not saying I am. I don't judge people. You know what I'm saying? You said no sound on the video. Oh, you know what? Sorry about that. It surely was. Thank you, Kamara. Thank you. She said no sound on the video. Let me play it again. That's all me. That's all me. Hold on. Let me play this again. I'm just playing the video, thinking you hearing it. You're not even hearing it. Check this out.
The end of November, early December, I found that I was pregnant. I told him, off top, I don't want any children right now. I'm 32 and I don't want kids right now. And he went through like this emotional kind of thing as if he gave us, but I'm pretty sure now that I'm looking, it was just an act, and he was just like, I don't want you to, terminate the pregnancy. I finally found out about her around the time that I came up pregnant. Now, my understanding was, yes, they were married, but they had been separated for at least a year and a half, going on 2 years. It was hard for him to get in contact with her so he can serve her papers because he said she was in a different state.
And
the
you
last
said
time I seen Derek was on the 18th.
The 18th of March.
Last week, yeah.
Does he talk about God with you and him being a delivered and he submitted to God and being saved while he's with you?
He talks about self-control. He talks about he doesn't go into like God this. That's why it's so cringeworthy when I hear him saying he's supposed to be in line with God and the whatever for God and God. Because he doesn't talk like that. Like, that's not him. That is something that he just picked up. Because usually, he's talking about investing, he's talking about money, he's talking about book signings and things. He have never came to me religious. This is a new Derek. Say probably like I've never been to his house. I've never been to a penthouse or anything. He has always came to my home. If you look in all of his videos that he have uploaded, my front balcony is in the back of his video.
Does it have the white arches?
It's the white arches. Yes.
Shut the up. Those are recent.
That's my home. Yes, that's my home.
Okay, so she goes on with that. I want to play more of it. At some point, Tasha K is like, "Girl, man, you got yourself into something. Like, man, he was just a bad dude." And I'm like, I don't know how women look at that. Like, ladies, would you look at a man differently? How do you look at, like, every woman is different. Some women is like, until you get legally divorced, I ain't messing with you. Some women are like, okay, well, y'all ain't together no more. I mean, if that was me, it's just a formality. So you're married, but you're not really married, not really. So we can, have a relationship or whatever we're gonna do together. I mean, every woman is different in that, but in general, still married is still married, whether they estranged or not. He still got this legal entanglement. And then the thing that we know about relationships is people can get back together just like that. People can be estranged for 3, 4, 5, 6 months and then decide they want to get back together just like that. You don't have no control over that. You might have a relationship with somebody who's been involved with somebody for 5, 6, 7, 8 years in a marriage. It's been rocky, hasn't been working. They split. They meet you. They talking all that goodness. Because you got to understand, like somebody that's just leaving a relationship or in a bad relationship, that's that rebound thing where you're very, very susceptible to being with somebody else. And, you might be needy emotionally because you're leaving this relationship. Maybe you feel rejected and now you got somebody that's accepting you. People get caught up with that rebound all the time. It's just rebound, but they think it's love. We ain't here. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Sorry. David writes messy. Fake Pimp Jackson. And then she starts talking about all the religious stuff. He's talking about God, God, God. Like, I mean, we all hypocrites. Everybody's a hypocrite in that respect. There's a lot. All these Christians say one thing, and then on some level, if you took a magnifying glass to anybody's life, you're going to find what you could call some contradictions. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's right. My style is different. My style and what I would suggest to men is to be 100. Be 100. If you're a married dude, but you seeing women on the side, just be 100 with it. Because if you're a married dude and you're looking for women on the side of your relationship, then you're looking for a woman that will accept that. You shouldn't be looking for a woman who don't want that. You're looking for a woman who'll be cool to give you whatever you're looking for. Let's say y'all hooking up having sex. You're looking for that kind of woman. And there's plenty of those kind of women out here. Just go find that kind of woman. But when you start lying to women and telling them this, that, and the other, I lose respect for all of that. Just keep it 100. And if she like it and she roll with it, you ain't got no problems. And if she don't, y'all don't continue in that way. You go find somebody that's more about what you looking for. She go find somebody that's more about what she looking for. Everybody happy. The problem comes in is when people start trying to lie and misrepresent themselves. That's too much fucking work. Remembered all the lies and stuff like that. Who's got time to remember lies? You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no time for all that. Just keep it 100. That's what you're going to do. That's what you're going to do. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. Keep it 100 with the people involved. Yeah, I'm married, but I like something new from time to time. Are you down? Yes or fucking no. If the answer is yes and you like me and I like you, we kicking it. If the answer is no, then we're not. It's real simple. But dudes be so thirsty to get to the finish line. They like, tell a few lies and get me over the line. And that's that weakness right there. But Crystal writes, married is married. I mean, you're going to compound it with some weak ass stuff. Lying about your relationship and where you are. Because what'll happen is a man will read the situation like, oh, okay. Well, she ain't the type that's going to go for this, so I'm going to feed her some BS, and then she'll go for that, and I can still get what I want. That's that weakness right there. You can't have every woman. You can't have everything. You know what I'm saying? Kamar writes, he's a narcissist. You talking about Derek Jackson? I can see that. I can see that. Glenn writes, Jason is a hotter mess than Black Republicans. Amina writes, exactly, rebound. Yeah, that rebound catches people all the time. You just got out of a relationship. You're emotionally super sensitive, man or women, because men go through rebound too, right? Part of my job is to, be a representative for men out there. I got to represent for the men. We need that. We need media that's pro-man. Too much media is anti-man. I know y'all don't like to hear that. Some of the females in the audience is like, that nigga tripping. No, I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping it real. I'm telling men, don't do all that. Number one, if you listen, I don't get it. It's just so much better when you keep it 100. But you got some people out there, men and women, but I'll speak to the men, who are they've been lying so long to get what they want, whether it be sex or whatever. They feel like they got to do that all the time. And I don't see that. You know what I'm saying? Some of these dudes out here playing the whole God angle, trying to get close to women, I got no respect for. And I ain't doing none of that. Never. Why would I do all of that? Just to get with a woman? I'm not doing that. Then I got to remember the lies I told you and act like I'm somebody I'm not. That it becomes hella work. Now it's a chore. And who wants to hang out with somebody if it's a chore? The whole point of hanging out with somebody from the opposite sex is y'all having fun. When it stop being fun, why do it? Got to remember all my lies. I remember this, that, and the other. Ah, man, it's men these days. Clarence writes, never leave one relationship and jump into another relationship. Just give yourself time to get over the first one, because if you don't, you're going to regret it. Absolutely. You're going to end up putting up stuff that you normally wouldn't because you're emotionally, needy. You're going to overlook stuff and deal with stuff that normally, if you was in your right emotions, your right mind, your right head, you wouldn't. How many people ever did that before? You end up messing around with somebody and you look back like, why in the hell was I doing that? But you had other stuff going on and it was getting in the way. And you really weren't in your right mind. Happens all the time. Happens a lot to women. Happens to men too, but women, that happens to women all the time. I bet you every woman in this audience right now raised their hand for that question. Because that happens to y'all all the time. Y'all look back like, why was I messing with this buster ass motherfucker? What the hell? You can't, but then you'll think like, damn, I was just going through something emotionally. And we know that. So men know that. And some men will try to play on that. And they do it very well. Don't ever ask me to be your girl if you just got separated, divorced, or just became a widow, right? Kick it, yeah. We can have some fun, maybe like movies or something like that. We got some similar things. Maybe it will progress into a physical thing if we both, feel that. What's wrong with just that? But so many people feel the need, they got to be shacked up, got to be exclusive. Man, please. Oh man, because I'm in 20 years of the game now. So a lot of what I'm talking about is my thoughts before I got married and just like hypothetically put myself into a single situation right now, right? Like how would I look at the world? Not doing none of that. If we don't click, we don't click. What's the use of like even going any further? What'd you say? I know it's a wife. You talking about what you in here talking about? You ain't going nowhere. You gonna say hello like your son did earlier? Yeah, he came in and said hello. This is the wifey. You gotta come down a little bit. Hello, wifey. There she is. Thank you.
He was trying. He thought he was going. I'm like, is she talking about leaving?
No, I'm not talking about leaving. All right.
Nobody's.
Thank you, wifey. I appreciate you making me look good this morning. I appreciate it. Thank you. She making me look good this morning. I appreciate it. Thank you, wifey. She gone now. I can be honest. Oh, I can hear she's next room. So I can't be honest right now. I'm joking with you. I'm sure I keep it real with you. I just don't go certain places where I feel like it's gonna be too sensitive. But when I talk about something, I keep it real with you. Well, honey, I don't take back nothing I said. I meant every word of it. Twice on Sunday. Kamar writes, I have a meeting. Have to sign off. Hope everyone has a blessed day. Okay, have a great day, Eric. Kamara. Catch up with you real soon. Dee Dee's in the house. She writes, I dated a man that had been living separated for about a year. I think he was still living with the spouse, but that may have been my cutoff point. I mean, that's a situation right there that I'm not in. So let's say me and the wifey, we get divorced, right? But we not divorced yet, but we separated. So we ain't together, but legally we still divorced. So I'm thinking, I ain't with her no more. I can do what I want to do, right? But then legally, I still got this connection that we haven't dealt with. I mean, that's a tough situation. That's a tough situation. That's why the decision to get married is such a big one. Amina writes, woo, the lies. Yeah, it sounds like he was lying. Crystal writes, it's selfish behavior, both parties. Absolutely, Crystal. Good morning to you. I got to catch up with you too. Hope everything is well. Hey, Chastity. Chastity writes, I think he has a problem and has used free will to selfishly do what he did. It has nothing to do with God. I agree with you. People be doing, evil and doing dirt. Then you want to bring God into it. Don't bring God into it. That's just you. See, I don't like those kind of people. I like the kind of people, I like tragically flawed humans. You know what I'm saying? All these perfect, I like people that's a little bit flawed. That's just me personally, because I'm flawed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just be honest with you. I'm a tragically flawed human. I'm never going to say I'm anything different because I'm not. And I like people that can look at themselves when they're wrong and just say, you're right. And that's the kind of folks I like to rock with. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. We all do ish and be like, damn, I should have did this or whatever. Everybody goes through that. But not everybody can own it in real time, face to face, and just admit, like, you're right, you got a point. I can do better. I respect that. Who don't respect that? Before we roll out of here, again, I want to remind you that my friends over at Renew Community Church are doing something new for the calendar year 2021. It's called the Focus 2021 series. And as a part of it, they're offering a free ebook that is available for you to download that you will find inspirational, that you can use just to remind you of the steps that you got to take to, jump over obstacles, or just to deal with the things that we of humans have to deal with in the pursuit of our individual happiness. Now, whether that be in a business sense, whether that be in a spiritual sense, or even in a relationship sense, that's the gist of what you're going to get from the ebook. And you can never have too much of that kind of knowledge in your collection, in your library. You can never have too much of that kind of positive knowledge in your library. So download it this morning. And while you're going through that process, you can also sign up for 30 minutes of free professional coaching with Charlie Winburn himself. And again, that's open. That depends on what you are looking to get a professional coach. What subject, what topic that you want to discuss. It could be, as I said, it could be a business conversation. It could be more of a personal nature or more of a spiritual nature. That's up to you. I just want to make sure that my audience knows about this opportunity so you can get in front of the line this morning. Do not wait. Time, the space is going quickly. Sign up this morning if you feel inclined to do so. Or if you're curious, sign up and check it out. I mean, what do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose. You have only great things to gain. That's it. So take advantage of it this morning. All right. Now, tomorrow, I'll be the moderator for the Get Engaged, Be the Change virtual event. This is an event that's sponsored by Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Inc. That's the Beta Zeta Zeta chapter here in Cincinnati, Ohio. It's called the 2021 Cincinnati election. What's at stake? So that gives you a sense of what we'll be discussing. I will be your moderator tomorrow at 12 p.m. This will be live on Facebook, and I'm looking forward to it. So make sure that you kind of put this in your agenda and check it out. Also on Monday, I want to remind you and give you a heads up about the Let's Talk About It series. Now, this is very interesting. This is something different. This series is focused about statewide issues, in particular, the efforts to educate people about and to repeal HB 6. Okay, now we were promoting in a similar virtual event about 2 weeks ago, and I gave you more details about it. This will be on Monday. That's this Monday, March 29th at 6 p.m. My job is to promote it to you. I'm not going to be involved as a panelist or a moderator. So I want to make sure that you're available, that you know what's happening, when it's happening, and and how you can be involved if you're interested. It'll be on Facebook at the Common Strategies Facebook page. That's COMMEN. COMMEN. And again, you're going to see this again. If we're Facebook friends, I'll be posting it on my Facebook pages and my social media pages so you can check it out. That's Monday. That is going to be on Monday at 6 p.m. So, of course, you'll hear me talk about it on Monday as well on the show. All right. Have an excellent rest of your day, family. Coming up today at 12:30 p.m. is the Is It Just Me podcast. Donnie's going to be riffing on lots of different things. So she'll be talking about the fact that the city has $290 million. I think she has some ideas, and she has a strong opinion on where that money should go. That's a big conversation right now. That conversation is just starting. It is the beginning of it. City Council has not made a decision, but they will be. So you have an opportunity to let your voice be heard about that. Don't undervalue the power of your voice. It means everything. That's coming up today at 12:30. Among other things, she'll be talking about Derek Jackson, and she'll also be talking about some, the local, well, not even a local story, but the story about the big celebrity breakup between Gary Owen and his wife. Gary Owens has ties to Cincinnati, so that'll be today at 12:30. Over the weekend, of course, you got the Dope Chicks Collective on Sunday at 1 p.m. Check them out. And then you've got the ladies with the Melanin Insights podcast at 5:30 p.m. on Sunday. They'll be live streaming as well. So we continue to move forward. As I said, to all of my patrons, I thank you so much for your support. And before I roll out this morning, I want to make sure I shout out all of my patrons and individually by name. I know I did this earlier in the month, but I like to do it at least twice a month. Just to tell you, share my support with you. To my patrons, I posted a link That's a graphic of an upcoming platform change that we're going to do here. So we've been doing everything from CDM. That's going to change really, really soon. And I think it'll be a better fit for who we are and what we do and what we're trying to accomplish. So look for that. Look for that real, real soon. But before we roll, I want to shout out all of my patrons this morning. Rhonda, thank you so much. Pamela, Frankie, Tanika, Kush, Charles, Michelle, James, Monique, Bobby, hey, Brandon, Gerald, Kelly, Omar, Valicia, Mason, Jarrett, Marcia, Brian, Sean, Jesse, Robin, Ashley, Daryl, K Works, D Wizzle, Tracy, Elizabeth, Cassandra, Bozilia, Patricia, Lisa, Cinnamon, Zola, Ray, and Renee, Dee Dee, Rachel, Tony. And Tony, man, Tony shared me some very sensitive and information. So basically we had a conversation early in the week and I was talking about D Wade. I gave him props of being a great black father for standing up and I think really showing us the positive way of having the positive side of having a transgender child. I think the way that he's dealing with this is admirable. And I wanted to give him props. And that touched a lot of people this week. I got a bunch of comments here, and including one from Tony. Not saying that he's dealing with that situation because he's not, but it just touched him. I did receive it, Tony. I appreciate it, man. Glenn, Letty, Jerome, Asia, Christy, and James. To all my patrons, if you're interested in becoming a patron, it's pretty simple. You might be thinking, what is Patreon? Patreon is a platform that allows creatives and creators to connect with their audience and allows you to, crowd fund to fund your projects. And again, my mission is to amplify Black voices. If that's something you feel like you like to get into, then consider becoming a Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Nathan Ivy Show, or you can go to nathanivy.com. And at the very top of the webpage, you're going to see a tab that reads support. Click on that, and you'll have a couple of ways that you can financially support the show. The show is also, we've got, like everybody else, we got a PayPal account, the Nathan Ivy Show, if you'd like to make a donation. And also a Cash App, which is the $ Nathan Ivy Show. So want to put that out there. And I know there's a lot of people that support what we're doing here. And if you'd like to support in terms of the donation, those are the various ways you can do so. Viva La Chapas. A shout out to my patrons. I really appreciate you. Have an excellent rest of your day, family. Have a very powerful weekend. Get some rest. Get some family time in. Get some you time in. You deserve it. And we'll catch up real soon. I'm Nathan Ivy. Until next time, that's Monday, 7:30 a.m. I'm out.